Hey folks, so one of the biggest questions we keep getting asked as our team runs HPA 100%, all 12 of us or so, exclusively Wolverine Airsoft products, is what is HPA, what are some of the benefits, and how do I get it? Because I don't know anything about it. So we figured we'll answer all those questions for you as we are explaining this to quite a few players on the field. I actually explained it to two people yesterday out at Egg Zone. So first of all, let's take a peek at the benefits of HPA. Why would you want to upgrade to HPA? Well, I think the biggest thing is versatility. Many of us, we've been playing for over 15 years, and you're probably the same way, where you've got a plethora of weapons hanging on a wall, in your closet, and you've got a build for just about every combat situation, every play style that you like. I know I myself, I had MP7 and P90 for close range. I had a G36 that was kind of, in the upper 300s. I had an M4, I had a sniper. And the reason, right, that we're doing all this is, well, because when you build an AEG, your FPS and your rounds per second is pretty much, stationary. That's it. I'm locked in, unless I did heavy modifications. Gotten a bunch of extra stuff. You know how it is. And that could be fun to collect guns, but it's also a little bit costly, right? Well, with HPA, that's no longer the case. You got one weapon that you build or you buy, and it's going to fit all your combat needs. That's the end of it. It's one size fits all. This particular one is a M4 I bought 6-7 years ago. And then I installed HPA, actually one of the first ones, with the Wolverine's SMP system. Just straight upgraded my AEG. And here's the cool thing. This gun originally was, it was stuck at about 380 FPS. It was only shooting about 15 rounds a second. But with HPA, I actually have a wide range here. I'm now shooting 330 FPS all the way up to 460. So depending on my mood that day, I could tone it down, I could turn it up, and it's just as easy as turning a dial. That's what's so cool about it. I can also quickly adjust with FCU, that I'm going to show you later, my rounds per second. Upwards of 40 plus, which is insane. Not that you're ever going to be doing that, I hope not, but you can easily change rounds per second. You can even change your selector. You can change it to burst fires, you can change it all, you can lock it very quickly, and that's what's so cool about it, is it's very versatile. The other biggest perk here is its reliability. As I mentioned, I have the original SMP. This thing is still working. It's about 7 years old. Like I said, one of the first, and it's still kicking the day, still whooping butt. 40 rounds a second is the highest we ever got this thing to, and I'm actually about to drop this into assault because why not? I'm going to HPA everything. So the reliability is there, and the longevity of the system is there, which is why I definitely will be recommending Wolverine to you throughout this whole video. Now, the other really cool thing is the low maintenance. Actually, I'll bring that back up. This thing, like as I mentioned, 7 years old. The only thing I have to do this is about once a year. I have to open it up and change out the O-rings, which is really simple. You go buy a $10 pack of O-rings from Wolverine's site or any distributor, and it's probably going to take you about 30 minutes to an hour to simply replace these and re-lube them up. It's that simple. Anybody can do it. They've got tons of videos on how to do this, and you really have to do that about once a year, or they say about 10,000 rounds re-lube up. Super easy. The other big plus here, of course, is increased range. You're probably looking at this gun going, okay, he's got a 12-inch, 10-inch, actually it's 10-inch, outer barrel. He's kind of a CQB guy. Well, you'd be a little wrong. When I had this originally with AEGs, and I've been building guns the last 2 months, upgrading the team, they're noticing a huge improvement in their range and accuracy upgrading to HPA. This gun originally was actually probably about 40 yards, real accurate, but now it's more that 55 to 60 yards. Being really accurate. It's incredible. So big bonus to your range and your accuracy. So after hearing those benefits, you're probably like, okay, now what do I need to make this happen? Well, First thing you're going to need is a tank. And this is a Vulcan 48 cubic inch tank at 3,000 psi. And I want to highlight these two numbers real quick. So the 48 cubic inch, this is the amount of volume that it holds, basically how large the tank is, right? The 3,000 is like the pressure, how much air you're really putting into the tank. It's very important to note those because there's all types of sizes available to you. The biggest thing to keep in mind is this PSI level. There's actually two variants here. An example would be this one here. This is a 68, so it's obviously a little bigger, holds a little bit more air, but it's also a 4,500 PSI versus a 3,000. So let's say you were looking at two 68s, and one was 3,000, one was 4,500, your first reaction would probably be, oh, get the 4,500, it's got more air, right? It's going to be probably about $30, $40 more expensive, but right, you're going to get more air. Cool. However, most fields, especially the fields in the Virginia area where we're based, will only fill you up to 3,000. In fact, I can only think of one field that will get you up to 4,000, right? And that's right here in Chesterfield, X Zone. Other than that, you're going to be stuck at this 3,000. So why spend the extra money on something that you're never really going to get tapped out? You're never going to use all that. So save yourself a little bit of money. Stay with the 3 because that's the standard for most fields. But let's look at the sizes. This is one of the smallest tanks available. I actually run this in my Wolverine Bolt for my sniper. A few of the guys use it for their assault rifles because it's so small and compact. Although this is not the smallest tank out there. There's a 13 cubic inch one as well, which is actually, if you really want to get custom, you can put a 13 in a custom buffer tube, throw it in your gun. Pretty cool. And then of course one of the largest ones you can get is the 90. Big boy. This one here, it will probably last you a good while unless you're using something like a saw. But when it comes down to how long are these tanks going to last, how long until I have to reload, well, it's really all about your play style. As I saw with the first one, the 48s, most of my guys are running 48s. They never have to change out. They'll go a whole day with this sucker. 3,000, one fill, and it goes all day. It all depends on how you shoot and how many rounds you put downwind, how your dwell is. But for the most part, one tank will last you at least one game. Sometimes this one will last me 2 or 3 events, which is just because I'm a DMR and I take my shots. Now, how do you carry those things, right? Well, you've got one option is the tank pouch. I got this one off of eVic for like 25 bucks. You just slide it in here, and you can add it to your chest rig. You can put it on your belt, you put it in front of you, behind you, wherever you want it. I like this. It's very compact, has some good protection, and obviously it's compatible with my vest, so that's why I like this one. Some people, they'll even just use a normal old camel pack, have their hydration in there with their tank, have 2 lines running off of it. It's really up to you guys. Depending on the size tank, like if you had the smaller one, it could probably fit in just a normal light pouch, which some people do. It's all about how you want it to work. Now, as far as the line, that's the next piece you're going to use, right? This is a standard 3-foot one, different colors. Usually there'll be a black one that comes with your regulator if you get one with a cable. There's all types of colors and sizes out there. And one of the biggest questions we always get is, does the cable get in the way, right? It seems like sort of an inconvenience, or doesn't it get snagged? It doesn't. The way you route this, you're not going to notice it. I myself, I drape it over my shoulder through my chest rig. I've got about a good 1.5 feet from my line to where I'm holding it, and I shoot ambidextrous. I'm both ways with my M4, and that cable is never in the way, never getting snagged, never having a problem. When I run on my sniper rifle, which is pretty long, I actually run my second chest rig around my waist, and then I have total freedom. So the way you run this is totally up to you. Just note that after a match, you're going to be perfect, and you're going to know exactly how to run this thing. It's not going to get in the way. It's not that inconvenient. But before you have the hose connected to the tank, the biggest important thing you need is a regulator. And I've got two of those here for you. This is a red line one, right? This is a Wolverine one. This one here, I've actually had for about 7 years. Still works like a champ. But as you can see, it's just a little larger, right, than the newer Wolverine one. And, you know, if you're looking for something that's low profile, small, go with that Wolverine, guys. It's also made for the Wolverine product, which is pretty nice. Now, the biggest thing that I like about this, not only because it's low profile, is it has the tournament lock right on there. Just slides right in place. This is open, so you can adjust it. This is closed, so you can't adjust it anymore. And then what the Fields will do is just put a quick zip tie on there, so you can't adjust it anymore. It's very convenient, and since it's so low profile, it's going to fit on your tank without any problems. I love these things. I've got a couple of them, so I would recommend this guy. And then, of course, the last thing you're going to need are the internals, right? I showed you this one. This is the Gen 1s, but now you've got the Gen 2s. Notice there's no external air tubes anymore. It's all built into the system. You'll buy the internal engine here, which will then be connected to both a trigger or a FCU chip, right? And this is the brains of the operation. The way it works is the trigger one is just what it sounds like. You hit this guy, the gun shoots. That's all it does. That's it. This goes right in your gearbox. This guy is the FCU, the brains of everything. This controls how much air goes into each shot. This also controls your rounds per second. This is the premium package with Wolverine. Highly recommend that if you're ever buying a Wolverine gun, just go premium or better, because the next version is the Bluetooth, which we'll talk about in another video, but it just makes configuring it a little bit faster and a little bit more on the go, which is pretty nice. So you'll get those, and of course, if you got an FCU, you're going to need a battery. This is a Titan 350. Some of them you can get smaller, but you see how tiny those are. These will actually fit in your buffer tube, which is pretty nice. So looking at all those parts, like I said, my FCU is in my buffer tube. The air cable comes out the bottom. All the other internals are already in the gearbox. It's that simple. Doing the install alone for your first time, after you watch a couple videos online, you'll probably get it done in about a half hour to an hour. It's such a fast install. I can now, after I buy them, I'm probably done in 20 minutes. It's so easy. Alright, so now you know all the parts, right, and everything you're going to need. So the next question is how can you get the HPA system? Right? What options do you have available for you to get the newest thing on the block? Well, the first thing you can do is you can buy all these parts we just talked about, do the install yourself. Probably take you about a half hour to an hour to get it installed after watching a YouTube video, and it's so simple. Now, one thing I do want to add in here that we've started doing is if you're planning to build it yourself and use your existing platform for it, buy yourself a second gearbox, right? Install the HPA equipment in the new gearbox, and then hot swap your existing AEG gearbox with your HPA. And then, you know, later down the road, if you're like, you know what, today I don't want to worry about air, I just want to worry about being an AEG guy, drop it back in. Gives you a little bit more flexibility, and it goes in line with that versatility we had talked about. Now, the second option you can do is you can simply buy a gun that's already got HPA tapped, right? It's already an HPA system. I know we always use EVIC for everything. They have quite a few models out there. We also buy a lot direct from Wolverine Airsoft. Just the variety isn't there, right? They're all about the same. They do have LMGs, snipers, M4s, all available for you. It'll save you a little bit of time, but you're going to spend a little extra, obviously, because you're buying a whole gun as well. So those options are out there also. The final thing you can do is you can get Wolverine Airsoft to build you a custom weapon. We're going to do another video on all the options of the custom weapon, the MTW. But if you're really looking for that primo package, get the MTW. It is a beauty. You customize everything from the stock design, the internals, if it's waterproof, what barrel lengths you get. I mean, the whole thing's customized, and it comes with 1/6 scope. Generally, a complete custom build will be anywhere from as low as $600 to about $900, but it is well worth it. 3 of our guys are using them, and they're always kicking butt on the field with those weapons. So that's always an option. So just to recap, you can customize it yourself, build it yourself, pre-built, or you can get a custom one from the manufacturer. And just as an option, we always like to just deal directly with Wolverine Airsoft, not just because their sales team, their support team is just on the ball and they're super friendly, but they also seem to have some of the cheapest shipping options available, because they just do. But if you're looking to save a little money and you're looking to do any of this, try their websites first, and then go elsewhere for parts. But anyway, I hope this video helps you guys out decide if you want to go HPA, and hopefully we'll see you on the field. Thank you.